Hey folks, Carl here and welcome to episode 7 of the JagdTiger build. So, last episode we got the decals on and everything painted up. So this episode we are going to start on the weathering and getting the tracks on. Depending on how much footage we record, we shall also hopefully be getting on to building a very basic diorama for this to go on and finishing off the tank. So without further ado, let's get on with it. Okay folks, that is the gloss coat all down. Now I'm going to put 2 coats on all these parts. The main tank, the wheels, bottom hull and the turret. Now that is all dry, it's had at least 24 hours of drying time. I'm starting to play with the UMP clay washes. Now I've already put a little bit of the rust onto the turret to see what effect that got. So if I zoom in and show you, there we go. So as you can see it on there. Still looking awfully shiny on inside there. I haven't left very much on there. There's just enough to give you that hint of rust. There. There's literally just a hint. Now the plan is to go over the model anywhere where I've exposed the metal, for example along the top here, along the front of this part here, anywhere where I exposed the metal, I intend to put a little bit of the rust over that and wipe it off, near enough all of it, and just leave a trace. I then plan to go over using the dark dirt over the complete model to get into all the recesses and the lines and stuff. And then after that I plan to give it a general wash over with sand and take most of this off but leave quite a bit of it on to see what sort of effect we get. Now I am still a little bit undecided on whether to give this either a pin wash, or a gunk wash before we do any of that. I'm not sure. I want to leave the gloss on as much as possible while we're doing the clay washes, so it's easy to wipe off. And if I go put an oil wash on, I've got a chance of taking some of that off and putting it back to a slightly matte surface. So I'm going to continue, have a play. These are simple to use. You literally just wipe it on, leave it to dry, give it 5 or 10 minutes, and then I'll wipe it off with a damp cloth, not soaking wet, just damp. So I'm going to go have a play and make a decision on what to do, and I will be back shortly. Hey folks, so as you can see the bench is a bit of a mess. So what have we been doing? So we've been using these. As you can see, we've got some decanted into pots and we're using them here and there. We've also got some of the oils out. We've got a bit of burnt sienna and I've got some already mixed and thinned down black here, and we've been going around touching up here and there bits where we want the black to be in the recesses. The model's still a bit shiny, so we'll zoom in a bit and have a look. So on the back here I've used mostly the black, and we've put some into these grills, into some of the recesses, and then we've just taken it off with some cotton buds, bits of rag, and then we've gone and done the same with a little bit of burnt sienna with a little bit of odorless thinners, and we've done the same again. We've gone around, we put bits of rust around the edges of these, got some rust streaks down the side there, got a couple on the front, and of course those are just done by putting a dot of oil, giving it a few moments to dry out, and brushing it down like the streak, and then getting a little bit of the odourless thinners, this stuff, on your brush, and just shaping the streak to how you want it, like so. And very, very subtle, but it's there. And we've been using some of the clay wash. Again, we put a load of the clay wash on these tracks to give them a rusted look, and then washed and wiped it off with just a damp cloth. We used the rust on this turret, but then I've gone and covered it up with the black clay wash and wiped it off to give that black dirty look. And there's still bits of rust colour on here. It's very, very subtle where the silver is. You can't see it too clearly on this camera, but it is there to the naked eye. So there's still stuff to do on this. There's still touches to go. I'm going to carry on going round, and I'm going to add some more rust. Nothing's been done on the front here yet. All we've done is the top and this back plate, and some along the edges on the skirts. So, you also use the black clay wash in the wire. So this is an actual wire, then a bit of plastic. Obviously I dry brushed silver, and then I've gone over with the clay wash, left it for a few moments to dry, and then wiped it away, and it's given a pretty decent effect. So I shall carry on, get this front panel done and the front here, and carry on touching up bits of rust and stuff elsewhere on the tank. But it is starting to darken up now we're adding these washes. You can see the difference between here and maybe not so much because it's too shiny, because obviously we put some on here but we've not added any to this part yet. So that's where we are up to now. So I'm going to carry on, and of course we've still got the lower hull to do and the wheels, because once all this is dried we're going to add this sand effect. Now what I've gone and done is gone and tried this out on a few wheels. So putting this dust onto the wheels, and I didn't wipe these off with a dry brush. What I did, I got a really old tatty brush that I use for just general bits and pieces like this. You can see the state of it, and I just, once it was dry, I just brushed it off, and it's taken off pretty much how I want it, and left it looking a little bit dirty as well. Obviously it needs to be matte coated. So yeah, and I'm going to add the rust wash to this silver to give an effect to that silver and take that silver back a bit. So we are motoring on, getting it done. So hopefully we're going to be done, probably, because this oil wash and everything will take 3 or 4 days to dry before we can add that layer of a sandy dust colour, this stuff. And then we can get the matte coat on and get it mounted onto a base and ready for delivery. So talk to you shortly. Hey folks, so wheels are as good as done, and we've gone and attached on this side. I'll move these lights around a little bit and turn this one on. Preparation is everything. So we've got those on. We've got the dry coat to go on the front there, and the idler will go on the back there, and then we will get the tracks on. So I've already done it, as you might have seen, on the other side. So we've got the tracks on this side, and we've dry brushed a little bit with the X11 chrome silver. Let's give that bit of a metallic look on the on the raised bits of metal where it's touching the stones, the roads, tarmac, whatever it may be that it's driving on. And as you can see, we've got that inside there where it looks like the tracks have worn away the, God, say that again properly, it looks like where the tracks have worn away the paint on the tracks, and I've worked through to the bare metal. Now we've still got the pigments and the dusting effects to add to this trunk. It's not going well tonight. To this tank. So this is now drying because we put some spots of glue on the track to hold them together. So I'm just going to leave this to dry before we connect the other side, but it's all prepped and ready. The tank itself is done apart from pigment, and I'm in a bit of a pickle. I don't know whether to paint these tracks black or leave them as if they've been painted with the camo scheme. I really don't know. But yeah, this is all done apart from the dust effects and the exhaust effects. So, not looking too bad. And the barrel is almost done as well. Again, we've got the stripes, the marks of excellence on the barrel. I've had to do this 3 or 4 times, and what I've ended up doing is using some of this really thin tape. I'm using a metal ruler and cutting it in half, so it's about 1 mil thick. And there on there, so we've got to add the powder effects to the end of the barrel, and then again some dusting effects, because as you probably noticed, this is like a desert type camo, so we'll be using some of the chalks I've got, because I'm looking for a darker brown than I was thinking of using. Where are you? Here we go. So I was thinking of using the sand, but that's a little bit, and then just washing over and rubbing it away. But I'm only wanting a light dusting of, so I have some pre-made, almost a sandy brown coloured chalk in there, which is taken from hair chalks. Have I got the box closed at hand? I do indeed. So it is in here, just some of these which are available on eBay, nice and cheap, and they have a lot of different colours in there for doing dustings and things like that. And all you do is, as you can see on what's inside here, is a little mix of mostly this colour with some of this added in to give us almost a dirty sandy colour. You can see it in there. So we're going to be using this over the most of the tank. So there we go. So I'm going to wait for the track to dry on this, on the far side. I'll get the other one done, and there's still some bit of wash to do on the back of here. So we've taken some of the roughness away from these bag exhausts because it was a little bit too much. There's still some there, and we put a bit of oil wash over the top of that as well. So starting to take shape and look like a used tank. So I shall talk to you all shortly. Okay folks, that's us sitting around 15-16 minutes, so I'm going to call that video there. I was hoping that this would have been the last episode, but no, there's probably about 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes of footage left, so I'm going to call this video here. When we come back, we shall be continuing with the base for it to go on and getting the matte varnish on and then having a final reveal. So as always, thank you very much for watching. Be good, be safe, keep making models. We'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching. Ta-ta!